Most people try to fix dog behavior in the exact same way. And while it might feel logical, it almost never works in the long run. Have you ever tried to correct or to stop behavior while it's happening and wondered why nothing really changes? In this video, I'll explain exactly why and how we should approach dog training that works for real life. Here's what I see all the time. Dogs are pulling on leash, they're barking, they're lunging, they're ignoring cues. And most people start to repeat the command, say it louder, tighten the leash, or maybe even offer better treats. When that doesn't work, the dog gets blamed. The dog is stubborn, it's too distracted. But the issue isn't what you do, it's when you do it. Let me ask you, what would it be like if your dog would make the right choices and you didn't even have to ask for it? The biggest mistake I see dog owners make is trying to stop or change behavior when it happens. Behaviors like jumping up, barking, pulling on leash, ignoring cues, they're not the real problem, they're symptoms. It's really quite simple. Good behavior happens because the dog has natural or learned skills, while unwanted behaviors happen because they're lacking those skills. Take this as information and not your dog blowing you off or defying you. They simply don't know any better. If we only focus on stopping behavior as it happens, we focus on a symptom and we're missing the cause why that behavior is happening in the first place. And that's why behavior continues. In order to change behavior, we have to understand why it happens. And instead of reacting to unwanted behaviors, we want to shift to teaching the skills that a dog is lacking. That's being proactive, so those unwanted behaviors don't even occur. If you're dealing with behavior issues and nothing seems to work, I'm Gisela Grieser. I'm a professional dog trainer and behavior consultant. And helping dog owners understand and transform their dog's behavior is what I do every day. Before we can change any behavior, we need to look at what drives it, what makes it happen. Habits are really powerful. Dogs will repeat behaviors that worked for them in the past. Let's take, for example, countersurfing. Correcting it while it happens will only stop the behavior in the moment, not in the long term. On the other hand, if your dog has never had the sweet experience of stealing a sandwich or maybe even your Sunday roast off the counter, they don't even know that's an option. This is skill building through management. This has happened to me several times when I had my little treat containers out. I was working with my dogs and I forgot to put them away. And then the next day or hours later, I'm surprised the container's still there, hasn't been touched. My dogs literally don't know how to steal because they've never had the experience when they were young. The second reason is that behaviors are always the result of an emotion. The emotion could be happy and calm, anxious, fearful, or overexcited. So those are the basic 4 quadrants that drive behavior. If you look at this graphic, you've got the horizontal line with negative emotion on the left and positive emotion on the right side. And on the vertical line, we have high arousal at the top and low arousal at the bottom. So if your dog finds himself in a top left quadrant, which is high arousal and negative emotion, they may be experiencing fear, frustration, and the behaviors that come out of that could be things like barking, lunging, destroying things, nothing that we particularly enjoy. If your dog finds himself in low arousal but still negative emotion in the bottom left quadrant, we're going to see things like shutting down, unresponsiveness to cue, sniffing, could even be self-mutilation. If a dog is in high arousal and in a positive emotion, they might be barking happily, jumping up with excitement, pulling on leash. They're happy, but they're probably not listening very well. And then on the bottom right, we have positive emotion and low arousal. And this is where your dog is calm. They might be chilling on a bed, they might be chewing on a bone, or walking nicely on a leash. They're just not doing anything wrong. So this is where we want to direct our dogs to most of the time. And all the behaviors that your dog chooses when they're in that emotional state are good behaviors. So how can we change behavior? Real behavior change cannot happen without teaching the skills that a dog is lacking. We call them concepts. Let's look at a few examples. A dog who barks a lot is certainly lacking calmness. Common misconception is that these dogs need more stimulation, more exercise in order to be calm. But what we're creating is a brain that is constantly go, 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 go. So we're actually achieving the opposite by giving them more exercise and more stimulation. Go ahead and check out my video about how to stop your dog's barking. I'll post a link in the comments. A dog who's pulling on leash. They have not learned the skill of giving to leash pressure. Actually, it's the opposite. Your dog pulls, you follow them, and they've taught you to give to their leash pressure. Concepts we need to work on here are disengagement, proximity, impulse control, and you guessed, a bit more calmness never hurts. I'll put a link in the description for another video where I taught my young puppy Josie how to give to my leash pressure and follow me instead. Dogs who jump up, they need impulse control, calmness, and learning to mind their own business. We call it disengagement. Once their skill set improves, the problem behavior gets less and less, and it often just disappears. I've made another video about dogs jumping up, and I'll also add that link in the description below. How about dogs that bark and lunge at other dogs? We call them reactive. I work a lot with reactive dogs, and I really like doing this because it's amazing how quickly we can see change through teaching skills. They need to learn disengagement, optimism, and developing an arousal regulation system. Most people ask dogs to sit and stay still when there are distractions that get them excited. And more often than not, that doesn't work. It's a typical example of training in a situation. We're trying to suppress behavior, which can actually create some sort of a pressure cooker where sooner or later the dog will explode even more because, again, they don't have the skills to deal with certain situations. I never ask my dogs to sit. Instead, we're teaching dogs movement games that allow them to regulate their emotions better, and then they don't feel the need to react. All that initial training happens without the distractions around because that's where the brain is open to receive and learn new habits. We use those same skill sets for dogs who want to chase cars or rabbits or bicycles or joggers. We play strategic games that teach the dogs to disengage, that teach them to feel better about these things that they just deem weird or exciting. And by doing this in a safe, quiet environment, the brain is open to absorb the learning. This is my recipe for success. And here's the cool thing. When your dog's skill set grows, they start to make better and better choices in all kinds of other areas. And quite often we might focus on changing behavior in one area, and then all of a sudden we notice that other problems that were maybe not the main problems at the time, but they get better as well. That's because we're changing the skill level, which affects a lot of areas of a dog's life. It doesn't happen overnight, but it doesn't have to take a long time either. When you follow a training plan that's customized to you and your dog. I remember when I was working with Jay, the world was kind of a scary place for him. He reacted to a lot of things, dogs, people, all kinds of stuff. And while working on the skills that became more optimistic about that, I noticed that when I walked him on leash, that he was so nice to walk on leash, and I never trained leash walking skills with him. But instead of focusing on what was out there, he had learned to, when he's not sure about something, to just kind of orient to me and kind of check in, hey, what do you think about that? And I was able to reassure him, everything's okay, everything's good. And he had that confidence to go out in the world knowing that I had his back. And that was all happening at home, not out in the situations where he would have been over the top, stimulated, and basically unable to respond appropriately. So if you've ever felt stuck or just don't know how to proceed, doesn't mean that you're a bad dog owner. It usually means that you've been taught to focus on the wrong thing. Once dog owners understand why behavior happens, then we can make a plan on how to change it. So stop training obedience and start teaching skills. If you found this video helpful and you want to support my channel, please make sure to subscribe and hit the little bell to be notified of new videos. And I'm looking forward to showing you some games and strategies how to build those skills so dogs can learn to make better choices.